Peace, power, and love. Humam Abdulmalik, again, before the sunrise, bringing us Blackanized Incorporated, conscious chess moves, moving in the realms of life, stimulating, motivating, beginning with myself and my surroundings and my space and those I come in contact with. The energy is great this morning all over the country, maybe all over the world, as we give homage and pay homage to one of the great iconic leaders of our community, very great orator, put his life on the line for peace and equality and justice in this nation, but it was assassinated. Sometimes we go through a process in this country that is really hypocritical, or the leadership of this country is very hypocritical. They arrive at a situation where some might be a deterrent in exposing or developing an environment of justice and equality between everybody in this class system based on hypocrisy from the beginning, but we in it, and we get benefits from it. Not everybody, but we say a lot of times, I got mine, get yours. But it's not really based on that when we come together as a group of people that's unified in our vision, our purpose, as a collective, not as individuals, and so many people in that endeavor as a unified body to bring about clarity in our growth and development as a race of people in this system of so-called democracy. And I'm perplexed, right? Because when this brother was here in this space, in this time, in this realm, he was doing everything in his power to bring about, to break the color barrier, to overcome racism and that sickness or that social narcotics. And he was doing a good job because everybody was coming together, all the nationalities and all. But it was with all the time, it was a plan in effect not to let him reach his desired level or whatever when he overstepped his bounds, so to say, and messed with their money, their money gathering machine on whatever level. Like, the warmongers at that time was making buku money during that time. And he stepped over the line when he got to talking about that Vietnam War, and also bringing the people together, being able to unify people like that. Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, was a thorn in society's side. It was a thorn in the paw of these people, and they wanted to get rid of it. So it's like they built him up, tried to tear him down. With none of that work, they had to take him out of this realm. And they did that according to their plan. And they always do it in a way that it leaves you wondering, who did it? Did they have a hand in it? But that's how they are. They are master deceivers, master assassinators of character, then also of your presence. But we just got to keep doing what we're doing as a people. And as I said today, the energy is going to be high. We know locally and we know nationwide, but that energy may be global wide also, because this was a great figure, and people loved him, and people believed in his message to a certain extent. Not all people, but a lot of people did, and the people that didn't, they got to give credence to his effort, to his methodology. May have been off kilter, or not based on a reality of what was going on then. But some people say it worked, because what was established was civil rights, voting rights, and all those type of things. I think that was in 1964 when we had that Civil Rights Amendment for voting rights. But we got to vote every year for our voting rights. Not every year, but every 4 or 5 years, whatever the timeline in that. So it's another discrepancy in the diplomacy or the democratic process that's in place that perpetrates hypocrisy. Not really a democratic process in totality or holistically. And I just want us to, or I speak for our deliberation from all the negative qualities and energy that we be attacked with, or that is in place to hinder our growth on the basis of us getting real equality in this political system. I mean, a equality that we can say is really uplifting us and bringing us together as a people, knowing who we are in our spiritual world, and our mental world, and our culture world, and our economical world. We need to be in sync with all those aspects: the economy, the culture, the education, and all that, and not have somebody else validate or be in control of all those areas that affect our lives. Even though it seems we can't get around that because we're within this system, I keep saying and promoting we have to organize and develop infrastructure based on principles of pertaining to us as a people, our culture, our spirituality. That's the only way that we're going to get full benefits from our reality in this system holistically pertaining to us. If we don't, we're going to be caught up in the paradigm of the system that already exists, that don't give, or really is not about our growth and development. It's about keeping us in a certain status quo of almost being servant. They really don't want to give us like equal playing ground, equal footing in this political system. And we got to realize that, and that's what we got to unify based on that. We got to, we so assimilated into this system that we are integrated in it to the point that we ain't trying to change it. We just get sucked up in the vacuum of it and just get crumbs off the table, really. Because it's all about money. Like, money is control. And that's how we be controlled, through the economical process of sustaining ourselves in this world or in this system. Because we're not in control. We just part of the control. We be in control. We assimilate and integrate into a system that really don't have our best interests as a people. It use institutions to rise up people that go through the institutions and It changed their psychic and it changed their culture identity in a way that is so subtle that they can't see it. And they be going through all the conditioning processes, being conditioned spiritually, culturally, to go against their selves, really, to a certain extent. We got to realize that, because it's so subtle, because it's been generation after generation, and it's in our subconscious mind that don't even see it, because we're inflicted with a social narcotics. This called white supremacy and institutionalized racism. It sounds redundant and all that, but we got to keep replaying it over our psychic and in our computer, in our brain, so that we can realize what's happening and come out of that program and reprogram ourselves according to our culture, according to our spirituality. Whatever it may be, it got to be holistically programmed, because what you practice should be personal, and not, it shouldn't keep us divided. It shouldn't, keep us hypocritical, really, because we have a smile on our face, but is he a Muslim? Or the Muslim be looking at him, is he a Christian? And but we have a negative connotation of who that person is because of what they practice, the religion that they practice. But if we don't adhere to that divide and conquer program, and just deal with, that's our deity that we worship, and that we as a people, melanated people, that we should be unified on our culture basis, not our religious basis. Because in the religiousity of it keeps us separated as a people. Very minutely, we have a complex against people outside of whatever religion that we practice. You can hear it or see it every day, mostly with our elders and mostly with maybe the youth. They coming into a persuasion of different religious understanding that separates us in our actions and deeds and activities. And we have to overcome that and be unified based on our culture and on our race, so that we can come back and be the people that we should be, unified in a holistic manner. Because there's only one creator, and that creator shouldn't separate us. We've been manipulated by master manipulators, and that's the reality. We integrated and become assimilated into their process, and to the certain extent, to the fullest extent, we develop a process mind. Like air condition, they can condition the air, you become conditioned also. Your mind become conditions, your habits, your aspirations, your ego, your arrogance, your self-centeredness. All of it is like geared to have you separate from the whole as an individual, competitive, and all that. But we got to rise above that. We got to rise above controlling our communities, reaching out, unifying with everyone in our communities, the youth with the elders and the elders with the youth, unifying, working together for one purpose, one goal, and one aim: the development of our people based on the culture, based on what we know. We got one thing in common, and that's our color, our race. We have that in common, and we can't separate ourselves from that. Even though they, also try to slip that methadone in on us with the Willie Lynch syndrome. We got to overcome all that and purify our thinking and purify ourselves of all the corrupt and miscellaneous and toxic ingredients that were injected into our thoughts and injected into our habits, how we deal with each other. We got to overcome that holistically. We got to institutionalize culture institutions. We got to institutionalize educational institution that's based on our African-centric soul or spirit or mindset. We got to develop a whole new mindset, especially in this political climate. Everybody want to associate and assimilate, chasing the money, I believe, chasing status quo, I believe. But I'm just an individual searching for the truth as a student teacher. And I love my people, and to be culturally inclined, I got to deal with the pathways of our ancestors on the divine understanding from a collective understanding of each and every doctrine that we practice, the history of it, the story of it, and where it come from, and what was put in, taken out, how it developed. And that's what I do. I research in those areas to try to be on or in accord with the truth, divine truth, a truth that's etched in stone, a truth that has signs left and a pathway to follow, to uplift and motivate, to enlighten myself, to enlighten other people through information pertaining to us as a people. And there's no personal anything. It's this, because like I just got to sustain myself in order to be in this realm. So, I have to work, sharecrop the clock, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not a celebrity. I'm not rich or none of that. Or I'm striving for some economical freedom, some financial freedom and stuff like that. But my striving also is to recapture my identity as a human being, as the original human being, the original indigenous and aborigines on this planet Earth. I'm striving for our true story to be told and his lies to not be believed in. I'm striving to ascertain knowledge to take in and to put out, to regurgitate, to help uplift our people with insight of who they are by learning, by studying, but not studying the so-called institutionalized doctrine, but somewhat studying culture, ancient to the present, but more also of the past, because the past is the beginning. I'm researching the foundation, and coming up from that, whatever it may be, it's pertaining to us as a people in our teaching. We had the largest libraries, not today, but in the past, that they don't tell us nothing about. One of them was in Morocco. The name I'll have to look back up, or I don't recall it, El something, but it's in Morocco. And not only that, we had libraries in Timbuktu, in ancient Kemet, the library of Alexandria that the Greeks took all our scrolls and information and set up the library, but that was our information. And not only that, you can go to the walls of ancient Kemet right now, the walls of ancient Kemet right now, and see the descriptions of stories that pertain to what we practice in the way in the religions, that you can see how it was plagiarized from the walls where it's etched in stone, the truth. And we got to ascertain that. I know we're in modern days and we ain't going black, but you need to go black to be right in this present time. So if you don't have the information where you came from, you can be manipulated in your now, which we have been, because the story is distorted. The education system program us to be drunk. The educational system program us. It really is in the education system. It's those who have the education system in place, even though it's set up where you need that to get a better job and this and that and all that. We still being misled from who we are to who they want us to be. I use that example again, like this cyborg on Star Trek. Everybody connected to the mainframe, and that one thought process, you following it or whatever. We got to come out of that dilemma of being under robot control and clones and all that, and really wake up to what's going on in this society. And we can't be fearful of anything that's going on in the society. We just got to be warriors. We got to be soldiers. We got to be everything in society. But we got to be working for us as a people. We be working for unification of our people on every level. Culturally and economically is the two main factors that we should be building on: culture and economics. Culture really pertains to all of that, but the economics we have to build upon. But culture is the way we think, the way we carry ourselves. It's the arts of ourselves and all that. Arts and how we deal with our community, how we be community based and all that. We got to develop that strongly. We got to develop that holistically. We got to develop it spiritually. We go to, we go to church. We go to the masjid, and we come out there and we be like so fired up, from the emotional. I know in the church it's emotional because I be in the church. I love that emotionalism. I love the choir. I love the singing and all that because that's where I come from. That's part of my culture, to get that emotional high, but not in a way that gonna take me away from myself. And when I say myself, I mean my people. That spirituality is in my DNA. And also when you go to the masjid, because I go to the masjid too. Sometimes those lectures be so emotional, uplifting. You come out that jump, we come out the masjid, you be fired up. But again, we separate from everybody else, because the Christians say you ain't saved and you ain't on the right way. Muslims say those disbelievers or the kafirs is going to burn in the hellfire. They're not on the right way. But I say we got to come together and come together in a unified effort based on who we are as a people, and really go into detail of what we do, what we be practicing. What we be practicing. Do we know the implementation of what we be practicing, where it comes? Do we know the history of it? Do we know that in 325 AD at the Nicene Council, what had taken place as far as in Christianity? Do we? All we got to do is Google it, 325 AD, Nicene Council, and see what Constantine did with this development of Christianity. We got to understand that it's a control, political, it's about control. It's about containment. It's about taking or destroying the story of the original people or the original concept of the practice of getting closer to yourself, meaning getting closer to the Creator, because the Creator is in our temple, which is our bodies. We got to realize the truth that is part and parcel in the Bible. Is like what they say, the more say truth and falsehood strangely mixed, because it's like a simile or something of that nature, where you get bits and pieces that fit a certain situation in our livelihood or whatever, in our living in this realm. But if you know who you are on the inside, know thyself, then you try to practice those personalities and characters that have you in accord with your nature and in tune with nature, with the universal creation or the universal intelligence, what we call God, Allah, Jah, whatever, is one supreme energy that we all in tune with. We all vibing from that. We all in the frequency of that, the energy and the vibrations of that energy. That's what we're in accord with. But when we want to just grab out of that and define something and put it over there on the shelf and say, that's what I worship and this is it. And somebody else do the same thing on the other side and say, this is it. So we just adhering to this is it. And it's ours, it's mine. This is what I practice. But it separates it from the whole. And we can't do that as a people. We got to come together. And if it's based on truth, if not, then we're fighting a lost cause as human beings, as humanity. If we can't have a core, have a point of reference for us to unify from and on, then what are we here for? We're here to be in accord with nature. We're not in accord with like this here. Whoever rules and they rules, and then they give us their concept of everything. Their concept of who the deity is, what deity it is, and this and that. And we be conquered, so we just adhere to what the conqueror has given us. So that's what has happened when we lose our identity to those who came into our countries and plagiarized and did all those things. Even though it was years ago, those years ago is like the present now, because it still stems from that indoctrination, that education of what we've been through. We learn about what they did, what they truly didn't do. That it's our story turned around on us. They got us believing that we have to die in order to live or get to paradise. While here they have all the good things going for them, and whoever ascertain those things that can buy the good things. And that's why we sometimes allow our aspirations to be too high. They manipulate us to live above our means instead of within our means. They teach us not to be content, but always wanting more and more and more. And then that wanting more is no matter how we get it, because we got to have it. We must overturn that programming in our mind and come together and unify on divine basis, culture basis, in a healing manner. We must overcome the post-traumatic slave syndrome. We must overcome the indoctrination and the institutionalized racism of school system. And we must speak the truth to power. We have to do that. I mean, no matter what, I mean, whatever the price may be, it may be humiliation, you know. They may say, oh, that niggus is crazy. Did you hear that niggus, what he's talking about? Or whatever. But that's it. That's what it is when you walk that path of enlightenment or spirituality or truth or culture redemption or redemption, or like Minister Farrakhan said, atonement. You know, we have to atone for our actions, because what I'm saying now, I haven't always been on this level. I've been in the gutter. I've been in the belly of the beast. But through growth and development and checking my desires and appetites and all that, and seeing the truth, knowing the truth, researching for the truth, I become a better human being. And being a better human being don't mean how much materialistic things you might acquire, or how much money you might acquire, or your status in life. All that is something that enhances your living here, how you live, your lifestyle or whatever, but that doesn't make you the person, the divine person here on this plane, in this realm. Because that's a way of manipulating us and driving our wants and not dealing with our needs to desire, or our aspiration is to be the best rapper, the best athlete, the best whatever, overlooking everybody else, you know. And it's sort of, in a sense, you have to be competitive in a sense, but not to the extent that you forget who you are and where you come from and your people. Always got to be about your people, the upliftment of your people. We can't forget about our elders and then our children. I remember when I was in Africa, the community in Africa is a community. They don't neglect their elders. And the children are always, you know, in a place where, you know, they ain't hurtful of materialistic things. They're content. Not saying that they don't do what we do here, because it's the same thing. We got the same elements on the whole planet Earth, because we all been affected by this social narcotics. It's a worldwide epidemic. We got to realize that. But we got to overcome that. We got to work within the system, not to be part of the system, but to change the system. It's a process. It's a process starting first with the individual mentality and the spirit to be able to deal in the system on whatever level that we deal with it, but we got to deal with it in a way of upliftment of our people, uplifting of ourselves, our family, and our community, and make connections. Networking is all about, you hear this term all the time, networking. That's a business term. It's all about business. It's all about the money. But we can't just be all about the money. We got to be about the uplifting of our people, unifying our people in a holistic sense. You know, we have to do that with us first. We got to heal. We got to heal and heal and heal until we become significant to others. We have a significant feeling for our brothers and sisters. We will think about it very deeply before we want to kill one another. One brother want to kill another one. We want to look at that before we even have that thought, or if we had that thought, check that thought. We want to, you know, in peace and harmony. That's what we want to promote for each other. We want to come over the idiosyncrasies of hurting each other. We have to do that. We got to unify on the basis of who we are and not be programmed by this mass media machine of commercialized lies that we bombarded from all ends. We send our children to school, and this curriculum is based on or programming them. The curriculum is based on programming them to have a certain attitude, a certain dilemma, to live their life or whatever way. But if we as parents first don't give them instructions and key to get through this quagmire, deceptive maze that we're in, through their culture, understanding who they are and whatever, and that when they go to school and they learn all these things, first and foremost about history or his lies or whatever, that's where we got to inform them who we are as a people and where we come from and how we started this thing off, and to fortify them. And we got to protect the elders. Again, I just want to say this is a great, great day energetically, because the energy going to be so high today, because we're paying homage to one of the great iconic figures on the planet Earth, really, who made our story. He made his story etched in the minds of people around the world with what he did, the path that he walked, what he was chosen to do for us as a people. And the people, different people, segments of people said that his way was not good for us as a people, and a lot of people accepted it. Even the system sort of accepted and put laws in effect through their apparatus of fraudulent laws. These same people uplift our brother, gave him the status of his actions, though, propelled him into that level or that status, his actions, his works, his deeds. But they also came right behind it with this media and all that. And they uplifted him. And then after that, they tried to take him down or belittle him, try to smear his character, what they do. But that didn't work. And he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't sell out, or he couldn't be brought. So the next thing they did was took him out of this realm. And through cohesiveness of like agent provocateurs or whatever is said, be right there with you. And they really did to tear you down and not lift you up because of the ego or whatever. But this day, we should give reference to this iconic figure and partake in this saying, like giving libations, really, or whatever people want to do. Is a parade today, Martin Luther King Avenue, and a peace walk. And we keep doing these things, the peace walks and all this and all that, which is good, but we got to build from them. This is the 11th one, and killings are still in our community. So are we building from the peace walk? Are we employing the concept of peace walk? Let's walk in the path for peace, not this day only, but every day should have been before or thereafter. Peace is from within. If we put the peace within our universe and understand that, then we can have an effect on the universe. Because if we don't do that, we don't put the peace, the concept of peace in our mind, in our computer as data, and regurgitate it, bring it out, but think on it, marinate it. We have to, the concept of peace, the concept of love, we have to put that in our minds and let it become part of our being. If we don't, we're being hypocritical as a people. whoever we may be. You know, we all have a part to play in this whole dilemma that we're in. We got to change our thinking, change our words, change our speaking, change our attitude. It's about change. It's about revolution, evolution. It's about growth and development that we must do. That it's past due. It's really past due. We got to follow an example of these iconic figures like today, Martin Luther King, to a certain degree. He said from his mouth that dream may have been a nightmare. The reason being, in our day and time, we still haven't manifested that dream into a reality, in totality, holistically. We still can't dream. It ain't about the dream. It's about manifestation in the reality. It got to become part of the reality. The peace in our community, the peace nationwide, all that, it got to become a reality. If it's not a reality, we're going to keep doing this every year. We're going to let people validate what is, and our aspiration be in a certain way, directed in a certain way. And we're not in control of it because we assimilate it. We integrate it into a concept of ideology that's being perpetrated by us. It's like we're that gerbil on the spinning wheel, and all we doing is retracting everything. All we doing is we're not developing anything. We just taking from what they're giving us. And long as we all right, long as we are 12 or 13, a step 4 or 5, we cool. Long as it's our family or it's me or I, we cool. But we ain't cool unless all of us cool. We all got to benefit from our efforts. That's what it should be. Each individual is for everybody. We can't be selfish. We can't be competitive in nature. We got to be cooperative in nature. That's why we need to learn our culture. We need to learn how we had federations and all. We have to learn about the matriarchic environment when peace and harmony exists. We got to develop in our character and personality a reality that's of peace, economically, spiritually, culturally, about us and about the upliftment of us, building up our community, having equality, and stop being under the power of a whole political powerful machine that we assimilate into, integrate into, and we just be part of it. We don't establish nothing for us per se to be of a institutionalized way of life, conduct, and character. But it's all right as long as we all right, right? Like I said, people go silent when they get that salad, or they become economically feasible or well off and collectively on their own in their little circle or whatever, instead of thinking holistically about everybody. I ain't talking outside of myself, because what I say, I hear first. It's developing my mind and my psyche, so I'm talking about myself also. See, I ain't no better than nobody else. I'm just walking a path that I proclaim, a path that I submit to. I submit my will to the Creator on the pathway of my ancestors. So I ain't no better than nobody else. And I ain't talking from that point of view of a egotistical, self-centered, arrogant type person. I'm talking for a person that's in humble humility, how I live my life like that, for the love of my people, starting with the love of myself. And I just promote this. That's why I get here on that. and see, a lot of us are conscious or whatever, very knowledgeable, but how you present that stuff is, I mean, not stuff, how you present that information affects how it is received. That's why I don't try to use vulgar language when I'm talking or writing. I don't vulgar language, or I try to be an example. I try to have a profound effect for whoever path or space I'm in, by my words I speak, by the way I look and way I dress or whatever. I want to make an impression upon you, not to impress you, but to make an impression upon you, to uplift you, to motivate you, to stimulate you, to come together in peace and harmony, to unify. You know, and as I said, I'm not only talking to you that might be viewing this, but I'm talking to me. It's like I'm looking in a mirror, first and foremost. When I meet you, you're a reflection of me, and I'm a reflection of you, because that energy that goes in me is in you. And we got to make that connection in the synergy. And we all must come together for one purpose, one aim, and one goal, under one banner and one deity. If we can call it what we would like, but we know it's only one energy. So we have to do that in order to develop our nation within a nation, this infrastructure that we should be developing. And we got to do this yesterday. Got to do it yesterday, and we got to stop harming ourselves. We got to stop it in our communities. We got to. We become our own enemy. Our youth got to realize that. Our youth and the young adults. And we got to stop this. You know, they bring all this drugs and bring all this guns and bring all these things that's detrimental to our growth and development as a people, man. We got to look at our young ones, our babies. We got to look at them and realize that if we keep doing what we're doing, who's going to be here to protect them? Realize that. Think about what you're doing when you have that gun in your hand, getting ready to hurt somebody that looks like you, that is of you. We have to realize that we are one and the same, energetically, divinely, spiritually. Let's develop love. Let's develop a unity based on love, justice, and equality that we have to develop. We can't integrate and assimilate into a system that we know is not for our well-being in the totality of it. It's a system of hypocrisy. The hypocrisy, so when the foundation of the system is what it's all about. You build from the foundation and you build up. And the foundation from the beginning was not about us, not for us. We got to realize that. Either we're going to go in there and take it over, change it totally. But don't get caught up in the assimilation of it, the integration of it. We got to go in there as world changers. And that's nationwide, worldwide. And again, let this energy instill in us the peace that we need universally to establish our identity, our accord, our constitution, our way of life as a people. Yes, unify. Let's unify with all melanated people on the planet. Let's do this globally. We have to overcome our slave mentality and our colonized mentality and come together. Come together. People say we can't do it. You ask an African about why they can't do it, come together and develop a United States of Africa. They say it's too many people. It's not. All we had to do is implement the plan, a divine plan. And it can be done like overnight. Bam. Because we have to do something. If we don't do something, nothing is going to happen. And in this political climate, you got people, again, divided. in ideology or concepts or the reason of money gonna be flowing or whatever. It ain't all about money. It ain't all about money because this money lost value, so much value that a dollar is not nothing. You got to have $5 in order to make a dollar for real. So realize that we as a people, and today give libations to all ancestors, but today give libations to our most prolific ancestor, one of them, and profound in his ability to bring people, bring unification together, open people's eyes, and he used his methodology of turning the other cheek and all that, and non-violence and all that. But see, when he did that, the non-violence that he practiced, all he got back from it was, yes, violence. Because this system is based on that. Warmongers. Got to realize what we're dealing with, the nature, the beast of the nature of the beast. And it's like, it's not, this system is the charade and all that. The government and all this is the charade. It might be, I don't know, people saying it's a little different with this this guy that's going in there in the office in this particular season. But I don't believe so. I believe that all people on that level is caught up, or they're part of the so-called Bilderbergs, Foreign Affairs, even the term Illuminati. But they all part of the Cultural States. And I don't think that they can be outside the realm of the 13 families or the Vatican. Because once again, during the campaign or right after, Hillary and Trump was at the Vatican talking with the black Jesuit. Get understanding or knowledge of who the black Jesuit is and this whole thing about the Cultural States, so that you can have a point of view of what I be talking about. See, we can't use this contraption, all this for the nonsense, showing fights all the time and all that, and laughter and all that. Use this for the benefit of attaining knowledge. This is almost like a encyclopedia, a dictionary, and history book all in once. If we don't take advantage of it, then it won't apply like that. We got to take advantage of it. So with that, I want to say, don't forget to make libation to the ancestors. Don't forget to see somebody and tell them that you love them. Give them a hug. Motivate them, stimulate them, and agitate them to become a better human being. To reach out and show them some love and tell them to love themselves. And our youth and young adults, man, think about it before you want to harm somebody, kill somebody, shoot somebody, and all that. And the robbers and the stealers, come on, man. It ain't nothing but material. And the drug users, come on, y'all. You chasing a high that you ain't going to never get again. And they use all this to control you and use it against you so you can keep going through this cycle of recidivism or becoming, homelessness. Come on, us. We're them our family members or whatever. We got to deal with our families and communities as a whole. We cannot neglect no one. We got to do this divinely. We have to come back in the divine nature, our divine nature. Come out of this system of systematic control, of being under robot control, walking around with our eyes wide shut or selling our souls, becoming Negro pins, trying to be something other than ourselves. Can't do that, not in this day and time. We've been doing it, but it's time to come out of that state of mind, being gatekeepers for them, the Boule and the Talent and Tenth and all that. And we got to be united. Peace, power, and love for my people. Don't forget about the Peace Walk and the parade right up here on Martin Luther King Avenue, starting at 10, I believe. It's going to be a big show. But anyway, grow and develop in peace and love for our people. And don't assimilate. integrate unless you're about change. That's what we got to do. We got to be change makers, peacemakers, and not peace breakers. One love, one peace. Love my people. I'll see y'all tomorrow if the Creator be willing to give me that what? That breath of fresh life, that breath of life, of that breath of fresh life. Peace. I love y'all. Stay strong. Come together under the banner of justice, peace, and equality, of love, of self-love, of healing. Let's come together.